All right, Henry McClure live. You are you're the YouTube channel. And I'm going to go live on Facebook. It's going to take a minute here. I'm going to be making some public statements. All right, hi, Henry McClure live, coming to you from the Glass Houses studio. Today I come to you as Henry McClure, the real estate broker, MCRE LLC, and I want to talk to you about 21st and Adams. And I want to talk to you about my responsibility there. And I want to talk to you about where we are today and how we got here a little bit, because I want to get out ahead of what I think is going to be an I Got You article written by Tim Rencher. And Tim said to me that what spurred the email, or what spurs this article, was an email that Sylvia Ortiz sent me, and he wanted to clarify it. He wanted to know more about it. So after being in the real estate business, so first, you need to understand that effectively the city of Topeka has evicted the tenant that was in a house at 21st and Adams. And we really need to focus in on the city first, because the evolution of this problem is more a city problem and not an owner problem. And I'm not the manager of the property. I'm the wannabe developer and salesman. So I don't have anything to do with the decisions of the owner or the actions of a property manager. It is what it is. Water service was cut off on that property in, I think, July of 2023 for non-payment of the bill. If you don't have water to your property, you can condemn the building. There are code violations out in the yard that are the responsibility of the occupant. And those code violations had gone on for years, literally years. The owner of the property can't fix the code violations, because even when you don't have a lease and it's a handshake and it's month to month, it's implied that you have quiet enjoyment. So if there are all these code violations and it's the tenant's fault, it's not the fault of the owner. So today, if you look at it legally and litigiously, the constructive eviction came from the city of Topeka. I asked, why aren't you condemning it? It doesn't have water. And the way we found out about it was the owner of the property got some notices about this $50 ready for service. He asked me, what's this ready for service bill? Why am I getting a bill from the water department for ready of service? So it's a very creative way that the city of Topeka has found a way to make $50 a month on every vacant building. Hey, we're ready for service. That's 50 bucks. The property in question at 21st and Adams, how it got to where it is and where it is today, it's not the fault of Henry McClure. I didn't sell the property to the guy that owns it now. Originally, years ago, I didn't sell it when he sold the trailer park part of it and kept the land part. Wasn't involved with that. The only reason I got involved with it because I was trying to put a Casey's there. So as a developer, and I met with the planning and they said, yeah, that would be a good spot for a Casey's. Dan Warner and I met. We he agreed that that would be a good spot for a convenience store. Well, as a developer, when I look at the property arm's length, the fact that that tenant's there is an obstruction. So, as a broker and a developer, how we got to where we are today is due to the fact the guy didn't pay his water bill. Lost, so the house is then condemnable. And then there's this other conflict. I heard from David Banks that we need to clear up that the occupant had some medical problems and the procedures due to diabetes, he had to get some toes amputated. And as time marched on, I wasn't able to find this guy. So I did go down to city council and make a plea. I also have proof of writing a letter to Sylvia Ortiz probably 16 months ago. Because after 44 years of experience, I know what's going to happen. It's like I'm going to tell you right now, and I shouldn't convolute my official statement about 21st and Adams, is that hotel is going to be the downfall like you don't even know. But I've tried to reach out to Sylvia Ortiz, and it's very important, especially for me, to not have an I gotcha article in the I'm running for county commissioner. And the people of District 3, right now, I don't feel they're being represented appropriately by Sylvia. But that's neither here nor there in the issues of where we are today with 21st and Adams. Where we are today is the city of Topeka basically constructively evicted this guy, and then they removed all the guy's personal belongings due to these code violations, and all the guy's belongings disappeared. The city of Topeka did that, not Henry McClure and not the owner of the property. But Henry McClure likes to get dug into anything. If there's a problem, let's blame it on Henry wherever we can. So I wanted to get out ahead of this. And I'm telling you, this is a really good reason of why I want to retire my real estate license. Probably ought to do it today. But I'm not going to have a real estate license because I'm not going to get myself in these messes anymore. Because I can't control what the owner does. And and I definitely have no control over the occupant of the property. And it was amazing during the trial when we had to if we had to, the city's basically constructively evicted the guy, but I still have to go to the procedure of a legal eviction. So we hired an attorney and we went through the process. We didn't want any of the back rent. We just wanted to have possession of the property. And it was amazing how the occupant of that property and the guy getting evicted said, it seems that Henry McClure and the city of Topeka have some sort of dispute, and I'm caught up in the middle of it. Well, I tried to get out ahead of this problem well over a year ago. And actually, on the city side of it, you could also just say, well, look, the guy didn't pay his water bill. He didn't pay his rent. He should be evicted. You could take that approach if you just take the legal approach. But what Sylvia has done is she's turned this into a race thing because of the fellows race and all this. It's all my fault. And this is what they're trying to do. I don't know if it's Tim. I don't know if it's Kevin Cook. I don't know where this is going, but I'm just out getting ahead of it. But that's the way Topeka is. So I'm going to send this to Tim Rencher. He interviewed me yesterday on the record. And I told him 3 times on the record that I'm not the property manager. It was like he was looking for a way to blame me for it. You can't do it on this one. I have not had a good relationship with Sylvia Ortiz. And if this is her way of taking it out on Henry, karma has an interesting bite. I don't really know Sylvia very well. You know, I think she does most of her meetings via Zoom. She doesn't think much of me personally. I feel that. But in this case, I reached out and asked for her help because I knew this day would come. But on the other hand, if you look at it from 10,000 feet, look what it takes to develop in Topeka. I encouraged the owner, which I have no control over at the end of the day. I encouraged the owner to evict this tenant. Tell him we're going to need it in a year. Give him a year to relocate. Let's give him plenty of time to go. One thing that your judge asked, and it's interesting when you're in front of a judge, she goes, now he can have more time, right? And that's the judge telling you you're going to give him more time. And I said, of course. And so it wasn't like he had to get out overnight. I don't even know if he lives there. The whole concern started up was I was actually concerned about the guy's safety. Hey, what I'd like the fire department to do after he's out, why don't we have a burn party and you can teach the new applicants. But I'm going to need to demo the building right away, or the owner is. I don't want to quit. I don't want to quit on this project, but it's impossible for me to work on it as a broker. I'd probably personally buy that property if it was the right price, but I got the wrong government. The person and there's 8 other voices, but if it really comes down to Topeka, if they're gonna help you whether they like you or not, they don't like me. They don't like me because I call out the Greater Topeka Chamber of Commerce, and I point out the fact that Go Topeka is wasting money. But McClure Real Estate's stand on this project is, I'm just a bystander to the whole thing. David Banks has been in the property. I think Sylvia Ortiz knows the people better than I do. There's more to the story. There's more to this story as far as the owner standpoint, but it's not germane right at this moment. It is what it is today. It's not our fault the guy had the water turned off. It's not our fault the city condemned him. It's not our fault that code compliance removed all his stuff. End of story, right there. The only reason we had to go through the legal eviction because you've got to do things legally. The scales of justice are supposed to be blind. But even after the city condemns the property due to not having water and code compliance taking all his belongings, I still don't have the right, or the owner doesn't have the right to just enter the property. You got to go through it legally. So basically, the guy's condemned and been evicted constructively. So you got to go through the process. And yeah, Mr. Tenant, does the city of Topeka does have a conflict with Henry McClure, and you got caught up in the middle of it. But it's neither of our fault. This is me trying to get out ahead of the landmine. I met Ray Bradbury, the futurist, the science fiction writer. And when he autographed my book, he said, Henry, step on a landmine every day. Like, just blow yourself up every day. And this whole 21st and Adams is a landmine that's being blown up. So if you want to ask more questions about it, I'm happy to tell you more. It's a boring story. But that's the position of Henry McClure, the real estate broker, the wannabe developer. My fingerprints aren't on this one. And I'm unapologetic for what happened because it's fait accompli. What's done is done. Thank you.